私の名前は八島のぞみです。ハンドルネームはアルテムです。Twitter と Twitch は同じ名前でアルテムで登録してます。以前使っていたユーザーネームのマチャンプは、その時にプレイしていたゲームのお気に入りのキャラクターの名前をそのまま取った形だったんですよね。それで、前々から変えようかなとは思ってたんですけど、自分のオリジナルの名前を使いたいなと思っていて、で、今回グランドマスターに選ばれた時にちょうどいい機会だと思って変えました。アルテムという名前自体に意味とか直接の語源はなくて、単純に文字の見た目と語感が、気に入ったというか、それで、この名前にしました。グランドマスターに選ばれたのを初めて知った時は、びっくりして、しばらくドキドキしてました。グループが発表されて、同じグループに去年の世界チャンピオンのトム選手と、あと自分が尊敬してる、トム選手も尊敬してるんですけど、サレンダー選手や、他の選手もみんなすごいプレーヤーばかりで、その中でしっかり戦っていけるように頑張りたいなと思ってます。去年も世界選手権まではたどり着けなかったんですけど、今年はもう世界選手権の一歩手前まで来られてるということで、そこで競技できることにワクワクしてます。コンクエストの時と違って番がないので、今までの場合ランク戦で練習しようとすると番したいヒーローと対面することが多かったんですけど、今回はスペシャリストの場合はそれがないので、ラダーで練習しやすいのは自分にとっていいことかなと思います。アジア地域で一番お気に入りの選手はタイラー選手です。自分が競技的に始めてすぐの頃によく彼の配信を見て勉強してました。全地域含めても一番はタイラー選手ですね。彼らと同じステージに立てて単純に嬉しいですし、戦えることがワクワクしています。
Hi, I'm Yunil Javiñas, aka Staz. I'm playing for Brand Esports. I still don't have a Twitter account yet, so just follow our Facebook page for updates. So when I received the email that I qualified for Grandmaster, I felt very happy, of course. I mean, it's like every gamer's dream, right? To be part of the most prestigious tournament of one of the most popular competitive esports game. So I feel like there's nothing more I could wish for. And for me, it is the most important achievement I have in my life. So I started playing full-time. I think it was year 2016 when I left my job to focus on. There was a lot of big tournaments, especially the WSG. Then got qualified for WSG on the same year in the grand finals, and fortunately I won. I invested that prize money in stock market. My mindset is like professional Hearthstone is not.
Welcome back to Hearthstone Grandmasters here for the Asia Pacific region. I'm Raven, just to remind you that guy's Derek, and we've got another match coming up for you. It's going to be the feature match today, Alutemu versus Staz, and this is going to be pretty much top of Division A versus one of the lower players in Division A. Although Staz did get a win yesterday, which helped him just push into the ever-growing middle of Division A. But let's take a look at the decks. It's going to be another Warrior matchup versus a Hunter. So we get to see that basically the matchup we just saw get played out again by two different players. So it's going to be pretty cool. But what do you make of Alutemu's Bomb Warrior?
Definitely little bit different to what we've seen from most of the players here so far, especially on the lower end. A lot of one-offs that we're seeing being rocked there. Personally, I'm a fan of 2 Town Criers pretty much all the time. I think it's, especially if this is your anti-rogue list, which it definitely looks to be the case for Alutemu, Town Crier is just so important in that matchup to get you not only the initial body on turn 1, but the removal for their cards like Blink Fox and the Hench Clan Burglar on turn 4. But that's not the matchup he's facing right now. It is instead the Hunter from Staz, very similar to Patra's build, but with a little bit more of a focus, I would argue, against the mages early on, with a double Tundra Rhino plus Rat Trap build in his primary, that I think may not actually be that powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Warrior can quite easily dodge Rat Trap for most of the game, if not all the game. And then whenever it chooses to, it often has the removal, not whether that's through Rush with Dr. Boom live later on, or even Shield Slam, Brawl, so on, so on. And also that Revenge of the Wild. Staz said yesterday that it's mainly there for the mage matchups, in which you can trade off a lot of minions because the high attack of the mage minions, and then be able to just rebuild boards and make crazy things happen. But again, I don't know if it's going to be that impactful in this one, and I feel that although Staz did well yesterday, he might not be quite as rewarded for some deck building in this specific matchup.
I think you're correct, and it's worth pointing out that Staz, I imagine, would have been putting Alutemu on the mage this week, because Alutemu has been playing a lot of mage. He's been playing a lot of very good mage, in my opinion. Me and Hunter has really liked a lot of his play last week with a very creative style of play.
Yeah, and the week before Vegas, which was effectively the week before last week in Grandmaster talk and time, he just crushed as mage. It was some of the most convincing mage wins I have ever seen, and that deck wins convincingly quite a lot. But Alutemu just destroyed. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, I think he's a very, very proficient mage player, which even having said that, I still think I like him switching it up, because we've seen a pretty clear divide between a lot of the players who bring the same thing over and over again. I believe Eddie in the Americas region just recently switched off of Bomb Warrior for the first time in week 4 or week 5. I'm not entirely sure. And he'd been doing very well with that right at the top of the table, but I still think for most players, I prefer a style of play where you are a bit less predictable. You switch around and show a proficiency with a wide range of decks.
And look at this already, just the sheer power of Warrior, that it can go late game, and it has pretty good draws like this. I say draws, mulligans, but even just being able to go 3-4-5 against Hunter is enough, because Hunter often does not go 1-2-3 at all. So this is already looking like the Warrior has a better opening, or more aggressive opening, than the Hunter, but we did spend a lot of time in the previous match discussing how Hunter can power through mid to late game turns against Warrior.
It's a very interesting situation right at the start, with Alutemu going with the full keep.
I like it though.
On the on his 4-card starting hand. I agree. I think these are all good cards in the matchup. And when you have Dr. Boom in the late game, you can you want to have the early curve to complement that very well.
Dr. Boom alone is the late game.
Right. Yes, that's mostly true. Staz, however, holding on to the Zul'jin as well, which we saw obviously did not work out for Patra in her final game that we just saw, unable to even get to turn 10. But I think for the most part for Staz, on average, he should be able to curve out through to Zul'jin.
I would really like to see the Hyena here from Staz. There is no weapons project unless I'm going crazy, but it means this Hyena is always safe.
I mean, Hero Power, Coin, Shield Slam, but I think it'd be pretty happy to see that.
Yeah, fantastic. Coin and Shield Slam being used up. And yeah, this Hyena's, even just chip damage, is going to look pretty good so far. Ooh, best draw in the deck. Huh?
And yet he doesn't even play it.
Well,
this goes back to what you were
for the
talking
post-Dire
about,
Frenzy, I guess. The only weird thing is, well, what if there's not a good minion to Dire Frenzy, and then you're holding Master's Call for a large portion of the game?
I don't think there's any way that there isn't a minion in play, though, right? Because even with Warpath, that buffs up the Hyena, right, with the first swing. So I don't think there was any way to get a full board clear there.
Yeah, I'm more thinking, do you want to Dire Frenzy one of these?
I think he's pretty happy with that, to be honest. Like, we've been talking about how Dire Frenzy, you really, really want to save it for the Scale Hide. Staz only has one in the deck, right? So he, we could have seen him go for the Master's Call there to try and draw it, and then turn 6 go for the Dire Frenzy.
That's
plus
what I
the
was
Vicious
thinking,
Scale
honestly.
Hide. Yes, which is a very valid way to be approaching the matchup, especially as Master's Call would have given you stuff to do in the meanwhile before you get to turn 6. But I think I probably just like going with a slightly more aggressive game plan.
Okay,
like,
okay.
it's not bad here at all. He's still drawing 1-mana 4/4s with Rush that add a 1/1 to your hand. That's insane. That's absolutely mental in terms of the amount of damage it pushes forward.
I would love a face attack.
Yeah, so would I.
Okay, he's going to trade. He doesn't have to worry about the... If it was going into turn 5, I think you 100% face attack because of the Dynamatic being a Fae, and the Dynamatic would potentially force an early trade, so the minion gets traded anyway and you gain the damage, right? Because the Militia Commander interaction. But I think even now it was worth just pushing damage.
Right, the only punish was Militia Commander so far as I can see. And then he needs to think, how likely is my opponent to have the Militia Commander?
Without any Town Criers
No
being
Town
played.
Criers being played, yes. 3 cards were kept in the mulligan, though, 3 of which, one of which was a Town Crier. Would you keep, sorry, one of which was a Militia Commander. Would you keep double Militia Commander in your starting hand?
I think that's adventurous.
Maybe?
I think that's adventurous.
It was a pretty extreme punish if the second Militia Commander was there, though, with another value trade, and then the smaller Militia Commander can still value trade the 1/1.
It is.
It's close. I think it's close.
Yeah.
I still would have liked to face attack. I can see why he didn't.
And now this is one of the tricky parts of the Masters call, is that because it wasn't played on 3, Staz has to find the time to play it. And yes, that can be later, maybe turn 7, but that means his turns, although fine because he has this plus Hero Power or Rat Trap now, and then he has Unleash the Beast, it means that his turns become one-dimensional in terms of how flexible they are in his hand, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have options. I mean, Rolling Hoffer, though, was a pretty good option.
Man, this is so close.
Hero Power.
Like, Rat Trap, as you said, Warrior can usually fairly easily play around it, but what this is it's just... It stops Warpath. Warpath is not a card that Alutemu can play in. And then I guess Staz needs to... Unless
How
he
often
already has
does
a big
Warrior
board.
need to Warpath that heavily and it doesn't have anything else to deal with big minions?
Fair.
Because, like, you know, yes, he had Dynamatic Great Clear, of course.
I mean,
you
it's
know.
not only Warpath that it locks out there, right? It still stops combinations of cards coming down for the next few turns.
Right, but what... So my problem with it is 2 damage going into turn 5.
Yeah.
Warrior's not playing 3 cards on turn 5. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Warrior's probably not playing 3 cards on turn 6 or 7 either. So then suddenly, was there 2 mana just more down the line that you can play on turn 10? And then stop the late game turns from maybe tons of little mechs, maybe? But all I'm thinking is 2 damage to face versus a card that is not going to be procced for the foreseeable future. I don't know if it was worth it.
I think it's very close.
What
now?
I think the likelihood of Warpath needing to be used is fairly high, mainly because Alutemu does not want to tank hits with his face. And so if Staz does keep developing with Master's Call Unleash the Beast, Alutemu, due to his low health total, will want to be using the Warpath a decent amount of time.
Yeah, I guess... What's he drawing that requires more than 2 Warpaths?
Well, what he has in hand, I think there's a lot of situations where Warpath... Yeah, I think you're just about right. I think the Hero Power was, on average, probably a bit better. But it's really... it's very, very difficult to evaluate.
Staz, the second Unleash the Beast. And funnily enough, Staz can get away with a second Dire Frenzy and actually be able to Master's Call after that, which means there is, you know, a double stack of Dire Frenzy. The only thing you'll have to be careful of is if you that's your bonus, then you don't Dire Frenzy the links again, because then you'll only ever draw one Spring Paw, sorry, not links. But you only ever draw a unique 3 unique beasts.
I do kind of wish that the Link summoned off Springpaw could just be called Springpaw, but not add another one. Like, be identical to the Links, just so I can call it double Springpaw.
Yeah. Like Unleash the Beast. Springpaw is basically a twin spell.
That's true. It should be called Twin Minion. Twinion.
Twinion. Twinsies.
Yes.
Imagine if that was the
exactly
key
what I would
word.
want,
Oh, this
twinsies.
spell has twinsies.
As the coming to a head here is our discussion of Rat Trap versus Hero Power. Alutemu can't develop. Whether or not he wanted to play the Clockwork Goblin or the Town Crier, Actually, no, he would definitely have liked to play the Town Crier, right, in addition to the hero power. So Rat Trap does stop some amount of development from Alutemu here. Whether or not it's worth 2 damage is still, again, up for debate. And I think in this instance, Staz would like as much damage to face as possible.
Yeah, the query is this turn, does a 3-3 on board do that much versus 2 damage? It's very difficult to tell. I think it's worked out being close, but I think on average the damage was higher value.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable conclusion.
I know, a little bit tricky for Alutemu, and you see now the payoff
Yeah.
of that Dire Frenzy early on. He pushed some damage, or a bit of damage, and then he has minions like this that are threats, and cheap is the most important part. He not only got 2 minions that can create spells for cheap, with the 2 Shimmer Flies on the board, but he also got 4/4 for just 1 mana, and he could press hero power. But now, boom with then Ziliax, with a Clockwork Gnome next turn if he wants to magnetize, then an Omega Devastator with a kill and rush. This could be the turning point for Alutemu.
But will it be, is the question, because my oh my, does Staz have a huge amount of damage that he can push, with the follow-up of Zul'jin as well. Like, most efficient way of pushing damage this turn is kill command, Dire Frenzy, hero power.
I think you do it.
Yeah?
Because next turn you can Rhino Lynx hero power.
And he's very likely to draw the minions, because he's played in a Master's Call, right?
Yes.
So if he goes Dire Frenzy on a 1-drop here, Zul'jin will likely draw that buffed up 1-drop off of the Master's Call. So in 2 turns time, he could go for a Tundra Rhino lethal play.
Or next turn might be Tundra Rhino lethal, depending on what happens, right?
Yes, yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, like, I think this push, Dire Frenzy push, sets up most of the time.
I agree.
For an aggressive play. Obviously, we can see Ziliax, we can see Clockwork Goblin, etc. for a lot of healing trades. But in general, I don't think you play with the attitude that Zul'jin is enough. But now this tells me that Staz wants to Zul'jin next turn. Because now he does it the other way. He puts these in the pool, he Zul'jins for the Master's Call, and then he can Rhino, buffed Lynx, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, you know, and just push for a lot more damage.
I guess, yeah. And this does set up lethal with the kill command.
Yes.
This plays good. I was just wondering if he could like set up close to 100% over 2 turns. Like, I don't even really think there's much punish here though, right? Because it's still a turn before Devastator Ziliax can clear off the whole board. And Alutemu, feeling like he has to just go for it anyway. Do you like the risky brawl more?
I think I like the Clockwork Goblin instead of the... Oh, no, never mind.
Well, he can kill off the Rhino,
yeah,
right?
No, I added it up incorrectly. I thought with the 1-2, he could have killed off the Rhino. He cannot, which then I do not like the Clockwork Goblin. So yeah, I think he has to Omega.
I believe Staz does not have a deadly shot played so far this game.
No, and he wins
despite running
2.
2 of them in the deck. Yeah, wow. He's so anti-mage with this deck. It's a very good pivot from Alutemu, or he would have been in trouble. But still, for Staz, it's probably... Is it still just Zul'jin?
I think he's Zul'jin's.
Yeah,
because he has
very strong.
He does have Unleash the Beast, right?
Yes.
So his Unleash the Beast can kill off the 7/7, and then he can push with the extra damage.
And yeah, like if he had a way to kill it off with kill command without giving his opponent the healing, I think he'd consider it a lot more heavily.
And it sounds kind of silly, but if you have to hit it more than once, you may as well hit it 100 times.
It's
in terms of the health, it goes up to nearly full, so just hit it a million times.
Maybe he's okay with that, right? Yeah, then maybe he is okay with just developing the rest of his stuff on this.
Which is why I think Zul'jin would be fine, right? Because you can hit it with Unleash the Beast, run the 2 1/1s in, and then potentially push with more damage.
Well, I think what he's thinking as well is he could go for get the 2 spells off of the Shimmer Flies.
Maybe cast them.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, if you can't do it in 1 hit or 0 hits, do it in 2. That's fine. Wait.
Why would you make
Derek?
this? Why would you make this play? Yeah, I mean, well, he wants to kill it off in 1 hit, right? He wants to deny 7 more healing, and I guess this does get more face damage, right? Because he kills it in 2 instead of 3.
Yes, but he loses a 4/4 on the board, which
which is pretty bad, yeah.
Because my question now is Zul'Jin going to lethal Alutemu next turn? Probably not.
Probably
You'd
not,
say, just
yeah.
probably not.
Yeah.
And if not, it's going to sound really stupid, does Alutemu's health matter then? Because Staz has put himself into a position where he is 99.9999% playing Zul'Jin. It doesn't kill Alutemu,
Yeah.
but the turn after, it either gets cleared, in which it wouldn't anyway, or he dramatically overkills Alutemu. So, I don't know. I'm not sure whether that would have worked out overall. Because the spells would have boosted the Zul'Jin probably as well.
This would be a good time for a master play.
And
Yeah.
who knows? He could have
Yeah.
traded one in and got a deadly shot.
Like, well, the difference is like, it's what, +5 health that Alutemu would be on if he'd gone with the other line of play. And I think that does matter to a certain extent once you've seen Ziliax. Because Zul'Jin doesn't give you ultimate value, right? It's not like you always win with value afterwards. He probably still would have.
I mean, there's double Dire Frenzy and a Master's Call in the pool and an Animal Companion.
It's fair.
It's close to unlimited value.
The Rat Trap still managing to not be procced by Alutemu as he clears the border yet again.
Is that the worst card? I think
It's
it
up
is,
there.
right? Because Zul'Jin will not recast it twice as
Yes.
well. So like, I think it's literally the worst spell he could have gotten out of every single Hunter one.
Doesn't really matter though because Zul'Jin is always there.
Yes, but he could have got a kill command, which would have been nice.
Well, that's a fantastic one to summon first of all. He really just wants to have something to Dire Frenzy here. And Master's Call first is actually a little bit unfortunate to not get another buff first. But it's still pretty good.
He has two Dire Frenzy
Yeah,
targets
yeah.
in there.
It's
And they're the
still
ones
already
he wants, not Leox.
It's true.
Specifically,
That's
so
true. Yeah, yeah.
it's the high chance of having the... I keep causing havoc with this. The high chance to get specifically the Rhino and the Spring Paw and not, say, for example, a Leoc
Yeah.
is a pretty big deal. Now, Alutemu does not have great options. Does he have to go for the Dream Brawl?
Just snip, snap, brawl.
I mean, he looks very dead if he doesn't.
Is there any way he can proc the Rat Trap first so that he gets the rat in the brawl as well?
Nope.
Don't think so, no. Ah, man, does that not feel good.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
This is looking pretty close to just a resignation now for Alutemu. He can clear off some of the board here, but the amount of follow-up that Staz has is very impressive. How much damage is this now, actually? Are both of those Tundra Rhinos buffed?
So that's 10,
this has to just
16,
be lethal.
18, 20, I think? No, 21.
Which is exact lethal.
If he plays the Hyena, right? I'm not miscounting. 10, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21.
21, yeah.
Okay.
That'll
I
close
was
out the
I'm
game.
pretty sure that's not right.
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to be game as long as something is played that isn't
He's got it.
tracking
He's got it.
or
He's got it.
misdirection.
Yeah,
It can be hero power, it can be the links. It doesn't really matter. That's going to be game one going to Staz. And that looked a little bit more convincing than we've seen today from the Hunter. And just showing that, especially, I think the double Dire Frenzy early on really helped that out because it made Zul'jin so much more powerful, and Zul'jin coming down at a reasonable time or a safer time means that something was left on the board and Alutemu just didn't quite have the card draw to get it really cooking.
And, you know, it says a lot about the fact that all the things we were really focusing in on there from Staz were micro optimizations, right?
Yes.
And I think with the way it worked out, Rat Trap was in that instance quite a lot better than the hero power. But I mean, even having said that, you could have played it on a later turn anyway, probably, and
Which
still,
was my
and still
overall
had
point
the same
is
effect.
there's probably a floating 2 mana later on, because Hunter often floats mana in the mid to late game because they're drawing their cards ready to do the big stuff, and they've got some cards like Unleash the Beast that are quite expensive and awkward to fit in with the rest of the deck.
That's fair.
But yeah, Staz takes game number 1. Now Alutemu is now on the back foot, and we could just have another match where a player on the lower end of the division actually beats a higher end one and just crushes the results down even more, a little bit more together, although I do think Alutemu is fairly safe in his position 1 right now. We're just going to go to a break while we set up game number 2. Don't go anywhere, we're going to be right back.
The cards see a heart that is stony, and a totem that's all kinda bony. This witch in such danger will soon be no stranger, 'cause she's gonna be our new crony. We welcome you into this room, and we promise your enemies doom. Just one more who's coming. The last one I summon is a fella who makes things go boom. Now the cards show me a tinker, so clever, but kind of a stinker. In a storm that's a raging, sits the last one I'm paging, a truly unusual thinker. All bots are now gonna go boom, but still, you shouldn't assume that I've made this selection on my own direction.
No, indeed, let's be clear. I have brought you all here, and now you're all in. It is time to begin. So you're probably wondering why I gathered you here. Let me take a moment and break it down. We've been given black eyes by the good guys. Oh, but that's about to change. Those meddlesome mortals who've mucked up our missions will finally feel some of our pain. You see, I have a devious plan that requires a demonstrative fist, and each of you will have your dreams come true as a fiendish finger of bliss. What? All right. Let me try this again. Alone, all our dreams went. Kaboom! Yes, but united we'll take the candle. No big figure.
I'm seeing what you want to do.
Let me hear it.
We'll come together so we can dismantle.
Now here's the plot to capture your greed and intrigue. We'll take Dalaran for all that it's got. As we form an evil league.
Hunter versus Warrior is going to continue now between Alutemu and Staz. Staz taking game number 1 with the Hunter and looking pretty strong as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think he's showing absolutely no signs of slowing either, because switching over to his tertiary deck, which I assume he's going to be doing going into these next games. Yes, yeah, okay. I think I was trying to assemble my ramen when that announcement was given.
Ramen, assemble! That's exactly what you shouted.
And I think it's a very strong deck that he's switching over to. I like a lot of the cards that he's switching in. I like a lot of the cards that he's switching out. as well. Extra Vicious Scale Hide, I think, is pretty mandatory up against the Warrior. It seems crazy that you need extra healing against a quote-unquote control deck, but it is very, very important to counteract all those bombs if you want to draw through your whole deck. And then double Savannah Highmane, I think while they were pretty good in Patra's deck, in a double Tundra Rhino deck, I think they feel even better suited.
Yeah, it's just, it becomes past the point of almost an insurmountable amount of threats, right? The Tundra Rhinos and the Highmanes and the Unleash the Beasts, so like your top-end beefy threats. And also, it gives you a little bit more leeway with the double Tundras and the double Highmanes, so just one, play them on curve, but also maybe you start doing weird things with them, like maybe a Dire Frenzy or something later on.
And I wonder if we'll see more so from the Hunter, or something I hope we get to see, maybe not even in this particular game, but overall in the matchup against Warrior, is I believe, having seen quite a lot of discussion of this particular matchup on Twitter over the last few weeks, Purple was of the opinion that you play it more like a combo matchup, more so. Right. Maybe that was the Mirror, actually. Oh, no. Yeah, maybe that was Mirror rather than Warrior. So maybe that point's not even perfectly salient. But I think it still applies somewhat, that while you can play it very much on curve, you want to be playing it a lot of the time as a combo matchup, at least in the later stages of the game. If your mid-game aggression does not get you there, going for plays like Dire Frenzy on Timberwolf that we've talked about, holding on to your Tundra Rhinos as well to try and get that big Tundra Rhino plus 5 1-drops big lethal push, I think is something that's very underrated as a playstyle.
Yeah, and in case you don't know, that adds up to a lot of damage. If you Dire Frenzy, if you Dire Frenzy the Wolves, even against Warrior that can gain armor, the damage is frankly absurd.
It is.
But if you want to go for it, I think you have to decide pretty early, and I think, as we mentioned, that's the difficult part of Hunter right now.
I'm kind of surprised by this mulligan as well for Staz. It's got to be said. The Zul'jin, I definitely expected him to hold on to, especially given his game 1. Savannah Highmane, though, on the play, when you have no early game at all, that definitely feels too slow to me.
Yeah, the weird thing for me is, especially after seeing the second one, if you keep a Highmane, then if you keep a card in your mulligan, you're not too upset to see a second one, by general logic, right? Because it's a card you've chosen to keep in the matchup. But seeing that second Highmane, I feel, is almost a nightmare. I mean, we can see Alutemu's hand as well, but Warrior consistently is fairly aggressive early game.
Yes.
And you are often not capable of keeping up as Hunter. And now it's just...
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think this is too slow from Staz.
Yeah.
Like, I think he should know from testing that the way he loses with this hand, like Zul'jin is a card that is his late game in a box, right? Like that's
one card late game.
Right, exactly. Even if it doesn't give him, he needs other cards to complement that. Savannah Highmane isn't a card that complements Zul'jin, in my opinion. Dire Frenzy is, Master's Call is, Unleash the Beast is. He needs those high-value spells.
Scale Hide is kind of that because it goes with Dire Frenzy.
Well, right. I would say Savannah Highmane is one of the cards that complements the least, complements Zul'jin the least. I would say any early game card complements it much more because it buys you time to get to that point. Whereas, obviously Staz could not know that he would draw a fairly expensive hand such as this, or a difficult hand to play. But I don't think it's out of the question. Hunter has a lot of combo pieces that need to come together. You can't just play out your cards on curve because they're very weak.
Also as well, I mean, Staz removed 5 cards that were 3/2 cost and 2/3 cost, and added 5 cards that were 3/6 cost, a 4 cost, and a 2 cost.
Yeah.
So you are frankly just adding a ton more mana cost to your deck, which means this will happen more often. That is just a fact.
Alutemu, which we haven't even talked about on the other side, I think, was a great mulligan. 1-drop plus Dr. Boom, both fantastic cards. You're definitely looking for those. And just even the way he's playing it outright, going for 1-drop on 2 off curve, I think is... when you play a bit of Warrior, you realize it's a fairly obvious play to make, but it's not at first glance. A lot of the time, players will optimize mana utilization more heavily. I think that's wrong. I think Alutemu has done a fantastic job of curving out and putting Staz in a really tough situation now.
Yeah, and Hero Power pass on turn 4. Like, Staz has literally done nothing this game.
And the Ziliax comes down now. Yes!
Coin Ziliax, heal those Hero Powers back up, and punch Staz in the face.
Yeah, I guess he could consider holding it to go Hero Power now, Ziliax on turn 5, coin Dr. Boom on turn 6.
I don't know.
I like just killing them here. I think they're showing real weakness.
You have Dynamatic next turn. right?
Yeah.
And you don't care. You can, if there's a minion that you want to Dynamatic gets played, you can just trade your 1/2 off anyway.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
exactly.
Like, your board is so sick.
Like, what could Staz play in response to this other than Timberwolf Unleash? Like, plus another 1-drop to even have a chance of
A
clearing.
Deadly Shot and a Prayer, I think, would be the draw. And he would have to hit the 1 out of 3. There's no real good other option, right?
Alutemu's really struggling with this, though, and, you know, justifiably so. This does not help his curve overall, because he goes 5-drop into maybe 5-drop into question mark into Dr. Boom, which is not a tempo play at all. I still think it's right, though.
Yeah, and you know how I would judge whether it's right or not? If your question marks turn 6 play is you've dealt 6 extra damage, that's a good card.
I
right?
agree.
And that's the way I would work it, right? You float your turn, kind of, to do more damage earlier, which just has to be better.
And look at Staz's hand now. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible.
And this goes back to my point of, are high mains even correct? Because it's slow.
Fair.
And Warrior
It's
is
fair.
not slow.
Yeah.
It's not a slow deck. It's a deck that can be slow or can play slowly, but it is not a slow deck. Yes, they're coining into the Ziliax on a mech this early on does not happen often, but minions happen often. There could be an Omega Devastator on the board instead, and that wouldn't be crazy, would it?
This gorgeously opens up the Dynamatic as well. Trade,
Yes.
Dynamatic, perfect. Another 3-5 on the board. Staz is getting absolutely obliterated
Yeah.
this game. Nice Unleash the Beast.
Look,
4-head.
nice high main. It was the one that was kept.
5-head, yeah.
He's just gonna die. He can even get lethal this
All right,
turn.
come on, war gear. Let's get the war gear. I'm feeling it, Alutemu. Oh, replicating menace. How much
enough,
damage
right?
is that?
That's enough. Yep.
Yes.
That's just game.
That is just game.
GG! Alutemu wins game number 2, and Staz just didn't play a game of Hearthstone.
No, he
And
did
couldn't.
not. And I think he got punished for a mistake. It was pretty much the worst pan out it could have been, where
Yes.
you keep an expensive card, you draw a whole bunch of trash, and your opponent curves out perfectly. But I don't think it, I think it could have gone a lot better for him and a lot worse for Alutemu, and the high main would still not have been correct.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's not correct to put in the deck, because I think it can be very, very powerful against Warrior, but it's a card you put down at the end to complement your curving out, right? You need to find in the early game, Springport, Animal Companion can be very powerful. Even just a Scale Hide played on turn 2 when you have 2 of them is fine.
Yeah, the thing for me is what it does is, in the past, Hunter has had very weak turn 7s in general as a single turn 7 play, right? So what High Main does for me is help pad the turn 7 that is often also an Unleash the Beast, right? So instead of just the Unleash the Beast, you have those and High Main, which is also good on 6, of course.
Yeah.
And it pads the game plan out to get to late game. But I don't think it is priority number 1 as a plan. Because the more you keep it, and like I said earlier, there's tons of low-cost cards been taken out of the deck in this tertiary list, and a ton of high-cost cards added, and yes, that means generally your curve is worse, because you've just made your curve like wonky in the wrong way, and made it more late game, and Staz got punished for that, but I'm not a huge... I think there are other things you could add in the deck to beat
That's very
matchups
fair.
like this that are not high mains. I think the other adds, a second Unleash the Beast, sign me up. It's more stuff for Zul'jin as well. And then Vicious Scale Hide. Yes, I'm there. And a Mark Shot makes sense. But I think the high main could just be something else that just helps get to the overall winning game plan outside of this minion's good versus Warrior.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't think they were needed.
I think it's close. I mean, I do not proclaim to be a mid-range hunter or even hunter expert full stop. When I'm playing on ladder, at the moment I'm just playing mage and rogue. Like, I've got to be honest, I'm playing the broke back
That's
deck.
Derek.
That is me. I'm such a degenerate with Hearthstone. I
Yeah.
find the deck I like and I just jam it over and over again.
I do enjoy the conversations of where we are on rank, because Derek quite often just sits in top 100, right? You get
More or
relatively
less.
high on
Yeah.
Legend quite consistently.
I've been slacking this month.
Okay,
but
maybe
yes,
not
yeah, yeah.
today, but in general,
Yes.
Derek's relatively high on Legend. Like, oh, okay, what have you been playing? Have you been trying out all these different decks? Rogue. Like, oh, what type? Tempo Rogue. I'm like,
What other kinds are
okay.
there?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, so you have a wide knowledge of all these crazy meta decks.
Nope.
rogue. I'm like, okay, well, I can't argue with results. But for me, who I have now and again been referred to in meme as a hunter expert.
You are.
You
played a lot of it.
I do play a lot of it, maybe not that well, but high mains don't tick the box for me and is actually even one of my favorite cards, so it should. But I do believe the players are sticking on the same decks, and they are just getting ready to go into the game now. But we'll see what happens now, because if that, even whether it's right or wrong, if that doesn't kick you into a different mulligan mindset, I don't know what does, right? Because now, whether it is statistically correct to keep a high main or not, Staz is probably not going to keep a high main in this game, even just after that.
Look at that. That is a hunter hand right there.
That's a cracking hand. What more do you need?
Nothing.
One drops into two drops
this is
into
the
three
dream.
drops.
This is the absolute
Master's
dream.
Call, best card in the
Dire
deck.
Frenzy is the only thing he wants in addition to this.
You'll get that on turn 4. You don't need it in the mulligan. You just draw it by turn 4.
Does he keep the hyena?
I think you keep it all.
Yeah, I think
One
you're
drop,
right.
2 drop, and then you have flexibility of Master's Call or Animal Companion to deal with, depending on what Alutemu's hand and plays happen. I think it's the perfect opening hand.
Like, Shimmerfly on 1 is obviously a lot worse if the warrior plays a 1-drop first. Like, if Staz was going first and had like Shimmerfly, Hyena, Animal Companion, he'd absolutely keep it because he knows that he gets to trade in his Shimmerfly after playing the Hyena. But this just worked out perfectly.
I'll take it back. Links instead of Shimmerfly with coin would have been better, right?
Because you could have coined.
You can coin out the Hyena and then play the double 1-drops to trade. Like, that would have been better in a perfect world, but this is pretty close.
This is still nuts.
Yeah. They're not the giga nuts, as the cool kids like to call it, but they're still nuts of some variety.
I was hanging out with Casper too much. Like, he says that every 3 seconds.
So does Ike, who
Yeah.
I talk to a lot as well, so we each have our giga nut. So together we have the giga nuts. Anyway, before Derek can't continue casting, we've done this too many times for the first weekend of us casting together.
I cannot cast because of laughter. You cannot cast for legal reasons anymore.
Listen to what I said and not what you think I meant.
No, exactly what you said was hilarious. Oh.
But this is a powerful turn here. Again, Misha out just on the board.
This is how you do it. And I know that Staz did get a pretty dream hand at the start here, but yeah.
Well, you can't get a dream hand if you don't mulligan for it sometimes as well.
It's true.
There is the culprit. He's there showing up like, can I come? Hey guys, can I turn up now?
Well, now he's great.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
This is a situation where high main is insane.
Yeah.
Because you just compound so much pressure going into the Dr. Boom turn.
Yeah, when you don't feel the need to Master's Con, you have a better turn, you are often feeling pretty decent.
Is this a better turn? This is super weak to Dynamatic.
That is true. Oh, look at Alutemu's face. Yes, A-okay.
I agree, buddy.
Oh, you know what? I actually didn't even count what the health total would be after that turn.
Yeah. And it was very, very bad against exactly Dynamatic. Yeah.
I guess. Again, I'm going to talk about going face down. But if you were making that play, do you just bank the Misha damage?
What happens in that instance?
Because if Ziliax comes... Well, it's just I don't know, Mega Devastate would be on the board. But if Ziliax came down, well, it still has to go into the Misha. Which, yes, it has a Divine Shield, but you have the Hyena.
I'm trying to think what more could have gone wrong then. Like, is Wrench Caliber a punish then? Maybe not. Yeah, maybe that was better.
What now?
Either way,
the Ziliax
was
a huge punish.
insane.
The Ziliax was a huge punish if you do that. But Ziliax was bad either way because it trades into the
Hyena.
Hyena. Yeah, maybe you were allowed to go face there.
If you were committing to that, I mean.
Yeah. Was it weak to? No, it wasn't weak to Warpath either. Yeah. Close. Very close. But either way, I mean, no matter what happened with whether Staz went face or not that turn, Dynamatic was the huge punish.
Yeah. But now it's high main versus the world at this point. Flux Boomzooka. It's just not going to be played, is it?
What's in the deck? I mean, if you hit the other high main, that's pretty nuts, right? Like, you pull it out.
Hit all the other beasts with the thing that pulls a few, it is terrible because you just waste minions.
I mean, it's a removal spell, right? You play that when you're behind on board to try and wrestle things back.
I guess it depends what's in the deck based on Dire Frenzies, right?
Yeah, like Dire Frenzy, you get some pretty nutso stuff there.
Speaking of,
Hello.
let's not mention nuts again this cast, Derek.
Wasn't going to.
You literally just said nuts.
I said hello. I said hello.
Yeah, but you went and
Speaking of.
you said would be the nuts.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore. Yeah. It's too much a part of my vernacular.
Now this is a weird question, isn't it? Because Dire Frenzy on any of these minions that you can cast it on this turn is bad. And by bad, I just mean not great. Because they're just vanilla minions. But he does want to do something because he does want to play a Master's Call. But if he plays a Master's Call first to get a good Dire Frenzy target, then he doesn't have a Master's Call. And he also doesn't have Zul'jin in his hand.
I think he's just allowed to play Tundra Rhino, right? It's going into Dr. Boom. Alutemu's kept a card, which he hasn't played so far.
Quickly.
Tundra Rhino demands an answer.
I guess. It's just because the weapon being there hurts me for a Tundra Rhino.
What, because you're afraid of trade plus Warpath?
Trade plus Warpath, I guess. I guess it's not much. Ziliax, maybe.
Yeah, maybe there was too much of a punish. And I guess, you know, the benefit...
For 2 damage is the problem,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And the benefit of denying Dr. Boom for 1 turn is not that high, to be fair. Like, if Alutemu had the Warpath...
And also,
yeah.
I think one of the problems as well is, so Rhino's down, and then you have Master's Call into what to help with the Rhino? You're not pushing tons of damage, right?
He has a lot of good stuff he can get off the Master's Call, even without a Dire Frenzy, though, right? Because he has another Tundra Rhino, another High Main, even just like Scale Hide to go with.
You can't play them for 4 mana, though, right? So we have Master's Call next turn with a Rhino on the board, can't really play anything, and then in 2 turns the Rhino's got to die.
Fair. I mean, he could have just Dire Frenzied the Rhino, right? Like,
That's true,
that
if it survives.
Super, like Dire Frenzy into Master's Call is still
That's
full
true.
mana
Yeah, that would have been
utilization.
pretty solid, actually. Alas, that was not the play. Or not the play that happened, at least.
Yes.
And Staz now has a 5/5 hyena. Another one, and Alutemu's got to work out what he wants to do here. He is pretty pressured on health total.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the play that I'm looking at most heavily is trade with the weapon into the 5/5 Acolyte double Warpath. But that's a lot of damage that he's taking.
He's going to make a decision quick.
He really
Oh,
does.
he's just going to play Boom. Yeah, if you rope it and still considering, play Boom. Oh, he didn't swing.
the best play.
Okay.
Maybe it was. Because, I mean,
do you ever think...
if he goes Acolyte double Warpath, he has a decent chance of drawing Shield Slam, which would be very nice with Dr. Boom on turn 8.
Would you ever think Spellbreaker, Acolyte, kill 1? Or even Spellbreaker, Alec swing would have been okay?
Yeah.
Spellbreaker, the 5/5, kill a
that,
2/2, and have a 4/3 and a 3/4, and a double bomb.
I think that's very reasonable.
Because obviously it's always great to have the board the turn you play
maybe that
Boom.
was better. Yeah.
So at least it sets up something for Staz to deal with while maybe Alutemu wiggles in the Boom in the following turn.
Yeah. I just think by not dealing with any of the board here, Alutemu is subjecting himself to taking a lot of damage. And, you know, he has Dr. Boom in play, so now he could start to get back board control very easily. He only has 1 mech.
There's also the point of he takes a lot of damage, but the Boom negates the damage he takes.
Yeah.
At least on surface level of the 7 damage on board.
He can get the 7 damage at any point is the point. Sorry, the 7 health.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow, was that? Oh no, he might be okay. While I was talking about that, he might have scored, but that's kind of nuts. That's just a lot of damage now. Oof.
It's hard pressed to deal with this.
I think the armor might be saving grace here.
Yes, yeah, the armor's very, very
I guess Zap would have done a kind of similar-ish job because you can zap a 5/5, swing, and then Warpath.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there were a lot of good options there because the 3/1 ones does the same thing as well.
True.
Or 3/1s might have been even better actually.
And actually, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Tricky now though. And this is where we see one of the benefits of sometimes you play Dire Frenzy as a buff and deal more damage outside of getting overly fancy with what minion you Dire Frenzy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really rough. Like, we could see double Warpath or a triple Warpath hero power and kill off one with the weapon to set off the Warpath again next turn. But that's so much damage he's taking.
I mean, if that's the case, you may as well Spellbreaker, right?
Yes, yeah, I guess so.
Here's his Spellbreaker hero power swing. Oh no, yeah, come on. Oof. Did he swing? I think he's swinging, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, he has to. He's chunking 10 damage though on this turn. How much can Staz actually put forward? Like, this can't be that far off lethal. I guess it's a little bit off.
I don't know, double kill command would be lethal right now.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's definitely doable with 8 mana.
Or just Timberwolf. Like, imagine
Yeah.
if you had Timberwolf, that would be so much damage. I think it might actually be lethal if you had that. You can get it with the Flux Boom Zuka.
I think. Yeah, it would have been lethal easy.
Alutemu actually just pretty lucky here to not be dead.
And he's going to have to continue being pretty lucky because outside of whatever his next draw is, he's still not in a great position.
Yeah.
I think what Staz needs to do now is use his minions to just clear the board and push 10 with the hyenas. Alutemu could do nothing versus these hyenas last turn. Why can he do anything against them this turn?
It's actually the Flux Boom Zuka that we're seeing. If he gets Heine, wow.
Okay, if you're going to Boom Zuka that. Although, wait, that was extremely likely, right? Because he has double Springpaw in hand, he has double Vicious Scalehide in hand, he already played the Shimmerfly early, so he's used double Shimmerfly. There isn't that many unique beasts left. That was extremely likely. Wow. Was there a need for the Shimmerfly that turn? I guess it doesn't matter too much, but it just
Yeah,
makes Brawl slightly worse.
Well, I mean, I think if Brawl comes down, Staz knows he wins. Because he can push. I guess actually, if Brawl comes down and it survives, he doesn't actually have to.
Okay, then.
2 Warpaths plus a Dynamatic plus the trade is a... it's a board clear.
Oh, the Dire Frenzy
Oh,
off the
that's so
Shimmerfly. Jeez.
That's so sick. He has to go Dynamatic, yeah. Unless it's hero power. Yeah. And this was always the outcome as well. So he knows that he can always clear the board.
Oh, armor. Funny thing is, Staz can't Dire Frenzy and get the attack in with a Scale Hide.
So does he just... it's tough. Like, if he goes Rhino plus Dire Frenzy and pushes face, I think that's actually the way that he might lose. Because then he could never draw the Rhino again. Alutemu can go Devastator hero power, plus, I don't know, maybe even a Spellbreaker as well, just to get stuff on board. But at the same time, if Staz doesn't play Rhino plus Dire Frenzy, then maybe like, he has a good chance of drawing the Rhinos. Maybe Alutemu doesn't have the Omega Devastator.
Oh, the Silence Militia Commander hero power.
That's pretty nuts too. Is that better than the Devastator? It probably is.
Plus
right?
more minions.
Yeah,
What else are
yeah.
you using your mana for?
And Devastator
Oh, wait,
can
wait,
just be
wait.
saved.
Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry, yeah. Or, Devastator can target any minion, right?
Yes. Wait, it has to target a minion.
Yes. I wondered whether, because he still has Ziliax, right? I wondered whether it was Town Crier, Devastator, the Town Crier, and Ziliax, the Devastator, to then attack and oh, it wouldn't kill it, right? It would only be 7. But it wouldn't kill the Rhino.
Oh, you think he zaps his own
To be able to attack with it,
yes,
but
yes,
because
yes.
he can't,
Yeah.
this is better because he can do that next turn.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I was just working, whether there was a weird way to gain a big heal that turn, even if you have to, like, Omega Devastate your own minion.
I get you.
Sometimes you think outside the box and you realize.
Oh, you really do. Yeah.
Sometimes also the basic plays are correct. This is...
Staz needs to be really careful though here, because by playing another Dire Frenzy, he actually opens himself up to just being further away from the Rhino, and the Rhino is the only card he wants to draw from here on
I think
in.
Mark Shot is correct.
I agree.
to start with, because you can still do good things like Vicious Scale, High Dire Frenzy.
Bomb toss?
No, multi-shot.
You reckon?
Yeah, I generally think so, actually. I think the only thing that's going to annoy you is some small minions in your way. And say, for example, a Zilliax, you can multi-shot it. Maybe Bomb Toss is better versus Zilliax overall because you can do it if there's only a Zilliax on the board. I'm just thinking of really small things now. Because when you get offered bad cards and bad options, you've got to think, okay, these are bad cards, but when are they ever even okay?
Pick up of Omega Assembly as well.
It means he doesn't have to use the Omega Devastator.
I think Alutemu might actually be in the lead at this point. Like, if he finds Zilliax to go in combination with the Town Crier, or in combination with the Devastator, sorry, before Staz finds the Rhino, which he's less likely to find now because of the second Dire Frenzy, I think Alutemu is in a fine position.
I think... Oh, the Scrap Hound. Oh. Derek's mouth is just open right now. He's just staring
I'm just
at
wondering,
the...
is he guaranteed the Zilliax?
Oh, he's not.
Has he played Zilliax so far this game? I don't think he
No,
has.
I actually, honestly, thought he'd played both militias, which is why I was so intent on the Zilliax turn. Okay, so now he has to play the Scrap Hound. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. I didn't realize how high his health was.
Yeah. But at the same time, if Rhino comes down for 5 attack, there could be... He's still not dead. It would have to be Rhino plus Timberwolf plus 1-drops.
The Scrap Hound surprises me. I don't think he needed to play that.
You think he holds on to it?
Well, why play it?
How much damage is that now? That's 7, 9?
Yeah. Still a ways away, and that blast shield the blast shield is a problem.
Alutemu is a blast shield god. He's rolled it 3 times now already.
I honestly, though, don't think that Scrap Hound needed to be played. All you're doing is giving an opportunity to be killed with no heal. And if Staz does not play a minion this turn, good. You've saved health anyway, right?
True.
I think that could have just been a zap to face and just be okay with it. Strange. Because he also doesn't have Zilliax.
Like, he might want to play Boom Reaver next turn in order to clear the board. But I guess actually
he has Omega Devastator.
Yeah.
And remember, he didn't know he was going to get Blast Shield, right?
Yes.
So Scrap Hound was guaranteed health?
I think you might be correct. But at the same time, it spends his mana. He has a lot of ways to spend his mana over the next few turns. I don't hate it, but I think it could have been maybe a slight optimization. However, for Staz, by playing all his minions out here...
He's saying, welp. All in?
This just makes Rhino as a top deck so much worse.
Garbage.
Trey garbage.
And just Warpath.
Like, is Staz just saying that Zul'jin is his only out now?
You don't Warpath, never mind.
Staz had to have been able to play this meta, right?
Well, the problem now is Zul'jin. The Zul'jin turn itself often is just clearable with Warpath, right? Which means Alutemu gets another turn after Zul'jin.
That's true. Holding onto the Warpath is very smart by Alutemu.
He has Militia Commander, he has the 2/1/1s, just like, do something there, is my suggestion.
This would be a good time for a minute.
Like, Staz does still have some pretty good top decks, but I still think, like, going back to that Rhino, Tundra Rhino plus Dire Frenzy turn, maybe it was better to not go for that, right? Because if he shuffles in smaller minions, if he draws those and holds on to the Rhino, he can just go for an OTK turn.
Very similar to the Pacha match, and the same rough mindset, and maybe the same outcome. We'll see. Because that's 21 cards. Obviously, a couple of these are bombs, right? So fine. But that's still, what, 17, 18 cards easily that Staz has to work through?
Like this just goes back to one of the most common, I would say, misconceptions of Hunter, is that when you play Dire Frenzy, it makes your deck better. That's just not always the case at all. Even though you are drawing objectively absurdly powerful minions, you don't want to do that, because you want to find the key cards of Master's Call and Zul'jin.
Yeah, I was going to say, even like Zul'jin, you saw the game Staz won, right? Zul'jin filled his hand with 1,000 cards, right?
Yeah.
He was never going to run out of value because he still had cards in the deck as well. So Zul'jin is even the bigger one because you generate value into hand.
Yeah.
Master's Call is good, but once you've used, sometimes you do have to just use it in the early game.
Yeah,
That's just
often
that's
you
just
should.
true. Yes, but Zul'jin is the kicker, and that's the big post Dire Frenzy card, and it's not there for Staz, and there's Ziliax. And at any point now, Alutemu can gain a reasonable chunk of health. And I wonder, right now, should he just may as well?
Okay.
Like, is there a need to Boom Reaver this turn for the value versus saying, I'm just going to Omega Devastator
He
Ziliax?
knows one of the cards in Staz's hand, which is Lynx. The other one, I mean, surely he can have a read on it not being a good minion. It would have just been played for this point. Alutemu could consider going for trading the to actually damage.
You can just bop it once. Bop it once now, right? Gain the armor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think this is fine.
Okay.
Whoa!
We've got a game again.
Wow. Okay.
But there's just...
Oh my goodness.
Oh, these draws are going to be huge. Wait, he has played a Master's Call. I'm not going crazy, right?
Yes.
I am sure he has.
I'm pretty sure he has. All the Hunter games are blurring together.
Yeah, we have cast this matchup twice in a row.
He has.
now.
He definitely has. He definitely has.
Oh, there you go. That's how important that
last
Zul'jin
thing
was.
he wanted to see.
The force of the Zul'jin being played blew Alutemu back into his blue screen.
Oh,
It's
the
just
3 mana 7/7s. Insane. There's your multi-shot.
yeah, there we go. Cheers, Zul'jin, mate. Good job. Oh. Oh.
That's insane.
Oh, I got the attack. Okay, I was like, if the scale hide doesn't get to attack, it's like, no, come on, everything get in there. He bombed. Oh. The Misha is not a 10-10 for those of you who've not played Double Dire Frenzy on the same menu before,
Yeah.
including Derek apparently.
Oh my god.
Derek, the force of this Zul'jin is also blowing Derek back
This
off
was
his
insane. Oh my god. I mean, so obviously Staz just wins now, but like...
Well, there is still Omega Devastator and
Yes.
these Ziliax.
Okay, maybe he doesn't just win.
The problem for Alutemu, really, here, outside the obvious, is Staz is on full health.
Yeah.
So he can't even try and, you know, push damage, get some bombs go off, so on, so on. I mean, this is about as good a response as you're ever going to get to something that disgusting.
This is very powerful response, yes. However...
You know what's a pretty good response to?
Yeah, kill command hero power or like multi-shot into kill command is kind of tempting. However, Staz with this hand, now he's got the OTK combo, which is very difficult to not win with at this point. This has been served to him on a silver platter. Right, here's an absurd amount of charge damage. Win with it.
Go.
He still has a 21 card deck as well. Yeah. And he's got charging Huffers. He's got like 6 Mishas in the deck as well.
And also,
5 Mishas.
in terms of board development, he has 2 bombs on the deck that if there's an AoE clear will deal 4 more damage.
Great, yeah.
Yep,
Those
sign me
are
up.
honestly pretty good. Even though he tossed a bomb at his own face, I think he's still very happy with the outcome.
Trade. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if there's ever a card that was like deal 2 damage to yourself and to your opponent. Like that would get pretty interesting, wouldn't it?
That was Shadow Bomber, right? From GVG. The 1 mana 2/1, deal 3 damage to both heroes.
Imagine if that was a hero power. That would be pretty cool. But let's not discuss adding new hero cards to the
Well, it
game.
kind of was with the Inspire from... What was that card called that had Inspire deal 4 damage to both heroes?
Oh,
or
yeah.
Shadow,
the
Shadow
priest dude.
something? Yeah.
Shadow dude.
But aside from wild cards, Staz is homing in very, very quickly on that field.
Oh, no, if he's playing. He should have played. Oh,
Wow. Okay. That's the clear that he needs, and what 3 out of 4 times, sorry, he can clear the whole board with Militia Commander as well. I mean, you know, he could clear the whole board, even if the Misha survives, but that's the bad one. That's what he definitely does not want to see.
Well, not too many options for Alutemu here. He has to go for this brawl and... Ooh. Okay, the middling result.
Yeah.
Defend the gates!
Staz, however, if he doesn't get these good outcomes, though, he's still not building up towards a Tundra Rhino lethal, because he played out the Misha on the previous turn as well, which I think I would have liked to have seen held, but whatever. Now with the pickup of the second Tundra Rhino, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for him to not get lethal in the next few turns.
Play it now. two Rhino. Double whammy.
Yeah, I mean... yeah, at this point, it's getting difficult for Staz to lose.
What I gonna do with you?
I think Staz can pick any option here, and it's probably going to be okay.
Probably just.
I think
gonna
he should
win.
just put Alutemu to 5. Right? Just Link's hero power phase.
Yeah, he's seen Ziliax, he's seen an Omega Assembly. Like,
He knows there's no blast shield.
I think he actually knows there's no way to Ziliax to be generated next turn.
Just put him to 5. I mean, again, we're at the point in the game where nitpicking is the only thing we can do, but I don't know.
Was that a snippety snap? There it is. This can clear off the Rhino,
It won't matter though.
and then Alutemu will die.
Yes. Either way,
It's finally over.
there's the 8 damage. Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, obviously Staz got very lucky by picking up the Zul'jin there, and I think there were certain things he could have done to either maximize his chances of drawing the Zul'jin, or prior to that, maximize his chances, of killing off his opponent with a big Rhino play a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, I think the biggest point was Staz needed Zul'jin to survive, and never mind necessarily win, but to survive at that point. And he could have put himself in a position where he didn't desperately need one card out of his very large deck at the time to win the game.
This will mean, however, that I believe Staz is now on at least a 4-game win streak, as I think he won both of his games last week and both of his games this week as well. He was looking completely out of contention for playoffs, as I think he was at second to last. I mean, he was at the start of this week as well. Yeah. Well, I believe even before this match. At the start of the weekend. Either way, he's now up to a 6-6 record with so many of the other players. He's in that middle spot. He could finish on the same record as Alutemu if things go perfectly for him and everything goes wrong for Alutemu. Division A is just shaken up so much. It's insane.
It really is, and you know, again, when there's some people have been discussing, there's some matches that don't feel like they count much. And yes, in a league format with an X amount of players, that happens. That's just what happens towards the middle part and the end of the league. Some matches are less impactful than others. Division A of Asia Pacific Grandmasters, everything matters. It is absurd, even to the extent that, say, Chonsu, who almost certainly cannot make it, well, his opponents can, which means if he beats them, that has a huge impact on who still goes into top 3. So in Division A, it's absolutely bonkers, but congratulations to Staz there on that match versus Alutemu. Whenever you take down someone who's had such a good win record in the league, you've got to feel great just as an extra cherry on top, right? Not only have you won your matches, you beat the guy who's at the top.
Yes, I think it's feeling very, very good for Staz, because I would have to imagine that he was feeling a little bit down on himself after a pretty poor start to Hearthstone Grandmasters, especially as he is one of the players who is, you know, he qualified through to Grandmasters on total prize winnings, which was off the back of one very impressive victory, but it's one major performance, which is Staz's claim to fame in his WESG win. So I think picking up these victories recently will definitely be proving to him and to everyone else that he does deserve his spot. He's not a one-trick pony.
Yep, completely true. And let's talk to Staz right now. I believe he is standing by. Hey, can you hear us, Staz?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So congratulations on the win versus Alutemu. And we've just been talking about, and I don't know how much you could hear us then, but we've just been talking about the way recently your performance has jumped a lot and you've got a lot of wins under your belt. How does that feel from having a bit of a rough start in Grandmasters to now being really in the mix to be able to make top 3?
I think I was just able to predict what my opponents are gonna play, so I was able to bring a good lineup against them. I think that's it so far. And since my opponents already played a lot of matches, I kind of have some stats on what they are going to bring.
Okay. Okay, cool. And I just want to ask you as well about in game number 2, when you kept high main in your opening hand. Obviously, you had a terrible draw and almost just didn't get to play Hearthstone that game. But can you just explain a little bit further? Do you believe, outside of that one game, of course, that keeping high main as well as Zul'jin is correct in the Warrior matchup?
I think Zul'jin was definitely correct. Well, the high main, I was actually asking my practice group regarding if keeping the high main is good or not. And kinda, I mean, stat-wise, it's really good, but I feel like I mulligan too greedy on that one. So, I mean, I already have the Zul'jin, so I feel like I don't need to keep the high main anymore. But if I don't have the Zul'jin, probably the high main is a good keep.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a little close, but I guess with that being such a long series, it's difficult for me to pick up on any one play that I want to talk about. Is there anything that you want to talk about in terms of plays that you thought were really close? Anything you want to justify? Or anything you thought you could have done better?
About the third, I think the close one would be the third game where I Dire Frenzy the scale hide. I feel like I really need to draw something, and drawing another scale hide, it's not really good.
Yeah.
So I feel like on that turn I could have just went for the 3-1 once, then killed the 2-3.
Right.
I think that would be better. I mean, I could have delayed the scale hide because I'm not really in any pressure at all. So, but it provides so much tempo as well, so it's really close. I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just so you know, I'm sure you'll watch it back anyway, but we had a lot to talk about in that whole match because I feel like the Hunter versus Warrior matchup is just full of a million different choices you can make every turn and how you approach the game. So it was very entertaining for us. There was a lot to talk about, so that was a lot of fun. But we will let you go now, and congratulations on a great weekend for you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that was that matchup, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with plays, is just so interesting, isn't it? Because there's just so many different things you can do. It's nuts.
Yeah, and it's just so undefined as to what role each of the decks play. Who's the beatdown? Who's playing the control? And it switches within a match. You can see players going from aggressive early on as the Hunter to realizing, okay, I'm starting to run out of gas. Let's play a bit defensive. Let's try and play to Zul'jin. And I think Staz there was, he perfectly highlighted it with his Vicious Scale Hide Dire Frenzy play. It was strong tempo immediately, but it diluted his draws. Vicious Scalehide was a terrible draw from that point on. He needed Zul'jin. Fortunately, he managed to do both, play the Scalehide and draw the Zul'jin as well. Yeah, but overall, it was a good win for him, and it's keeping him in contention for playoffs still.
Yeah, it really is, along with everyone else in Division A at this point. It was a great series, and we've got 3 more coming up for you. And now, if you like Mage, you need to stay tuned and definitely watch the next 3 matches. They are going to be Warrior versus Mage coming right up, and we've got Shaxi versus Dawn. We're going to be right back with that one. Don't go anywhere.